Welcome back. President Trump has signed the orders to deploy the National Guard to the U.S.-Mexico border. The president says he wants to beef up security until his wall goes up, but within hours of that order, the Secretary of Homeland Security downplayed the move, saying those troops will not be armed and will only be there in a supporting role. And that decision coming just a few days after the president declared the DACA program dead. Now, DACA, as you know, is the program for undocumented children brought to the U.S. And the president said the program was dead, along with a Democratic deal that would have fully funded a border wall in exchange for a pathway to citizenship for Dreamers. Colorado Republican Senator Cory Gardner says he is still going to work with Democratic Senator Michael Bennet to find a solution.
We need to find a solution for these, 800,000 some kids, even more than that, are eligible who didn't sign up. So let's find a solution. Let's do it in the best bipartisan manner that we can, and I'll continue to fight for that.
And the White House says it will continue pushing immigration efforts similar to those the administration has been pursuing since last fall. Well, joining us now to talk about that and a whole lot of other topics is Democratic Congressman Jared Polis, also running for governor. And thank you so much for being here. And you say that this deal is essentially throwing away the lives of people who thought they had a future here. Why has this deal fallen apart?
Well, simply two words: Donald Trump. I think Republican and Democratic legislators are able to work together, and not in every area, but in this one, because it even pulls together people like Cory Gardner and me, Mike Hoffman, Diana DeGette. I mean, we are all on the same page about, yes, we can agree to some increased border security measures if we can find a way that the young people who grew up here can become citizens. But Trump has thrown cold water on every legislative compromise proposal that Congress has come up with. I believe in my heart that he doesn't want to help the Dreamers. And
do you really feel like your party has these DACA recipients' best interest in mind? You really want to get this deal done?
More than just the DACA recipients, it's also their families. It's the mixed status families of American children, where the kids are born here, are American. One parent might be here legally, the other might not. We need to create a pathway to do this. People who've been here illegally need to register, pay a fine, and get in line behind those who are here legally. And we have bipartisan proposals to do this. All we need is a president of the United States that's simply willing to get to yes.
Do you think that we will get to yes at some point?
It's up to the president. I believe that Congress can deliver, and it's a pretty low bar these days because there's not a lot Congress can deliver on. But at the end of the day, the men and women who serve in United States Congress do believe in border security, do believe in making sure that people who grew up here and are aspiring Americans, as American as you or I, should have a way to make that a formal reality rather than just a de facto reality.
All right, well, obviously keep watching, all of us. Let's talk about those Border Patrol agents, National Guard troops being ordered to go stand there. What do you think of that idea?
Well, it's just fiction in the president's mind. He makes up these scary sounding things like caravans heading over there or invasions from other countries. The border is more secure than it's been in years. Illegal crossings are down. Illegal smuggling of drugs is down. That's good. The answer is not more militarization. It's high-tech surveillance and border security. And again, we have bipartisan proposals to do that, using electronic fencing, using drones, using imagery. Of course we can do a better job at border security. I think Democrats and Republicans agree on that. But again, it's not this symbolic show of having National Guardsmen who have no training in border security just for the sake of showing what look like troops marching to the border. Okay,
so you're running for governor. What do you think about Colorado having this image of being an immigrant-friendly state, and some would say a sanctuary state?
Well, I hope that part of what we believe in Colorado and what we show is that we're an inclusive state. We want to be a state that works for everybody, regardless of your race, regardless of how long you've been here, regardless of where you are geographically. As governor, a big part of my focus is doing a better job that really the Colorado success story should work for everybody. I mean, whether you live in Sterling or Yuma County, Grand Junction or Pueblo, or here in the Denver metro area, but your wages haven't kept up with the cost of living, we need to make Colorado work for you. And that's really a big part of why I'm running for governor.
You're in a very, very crowded race with a lot of really strong candidates out there. How do you stand out in a crowd like that?
Well, look, I'm always the one who challenges people with bold ideas, who's willing to take on the status quo. I think we're ready for that kind of leadership. We want a governor who's going to talk about not just marginal reform on health care, but how do we get to universal, cover everybody. We have a plan to do that at polisforcolorado.com. How do we just not talk about improving our public schools, but actually come up with a formula to make sure that every family can access free preschool and kindergarten, and we can better compensate our educators? Those are the kind of big ideas that I think excite people, and it's what we plan to deliver on as governor.
We have 1/3 of Coloradans who are unaffiliated, and that number is growing. How do you, a lot of people view you as very far to the left. How do you bring in those unaffiliateds and Republican voters as well?
Well, politics, I've never viewed it as about left versus right, liberal versus conservative. Those are just name calling that people do. I really see it as forward versus past. I've always looked to the future, and I see the fundamental challenge that we face as governor in Congress is how do we make a changing future with automation, with changes from climate change and water? How do we make it work for everyday Coloradans so everyday Coloradans do better? So out of that basic value, I've created a bold, progressive agenda to really get at a lot of these problems that we have and make life better for Colorados.
Let me just quickly ask you about Hickenlooper-Kasich. Do you think that maybe not that ticket, but a ticket such as that is really the future of politics now?
Well, I don't know where it's going. I think certainly most Coloradans and Americans are frustrated with one side yelling at the other, for the benefit of the self-serving people who do that. I think they want somebody who's a practical problem solver. I have started businesses, I've started schools that serve at-risk youth. I've brought Republicans together and Democrats around bold ideas that actually work. And so, you know, I think that's what people want in a governor, and it's why I've decided to offer my services to the state.
Congressman Polis, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Ann.
All right, be right back.